Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Tonight, what are we going to do?
We are going to review Venom.
By the way, this is my husband. He is 2 years old. If anyone would like him, please feel free to message me about that. So, we saw Venom, what was it, last week?
Last Friday.
That's what I thought, almost a week ago. So, we're just going to jump right into it, and I want to focus, tonight I'm going to focus more on, it was a Sony project, and how it should have been rated R, but since they went down to PG-13, they pushed that limit to the very extent. They pushed the limit on what they could do with PG-13. A lot of stuff was like rated R situations, but not to the point it was to that rating for it. But I applaud Sony for making that work. They did that. And the director, Ruben, forgive me if I mispronounce your last name. I do not speak very well. Fishner? Something like that. He has done more comedies that we have found. So I feel like that this is a big step for him, going from comedy to more of a Marvel, sci-fi kind of drastic change. But he did another movie that was semi-well, I believe. I've heard of this movie, but I didn't see it, called Zombieland, and 30 Minutes or Less. And my last thing is Tom Hardy. So I think he was very well for the role. He knew exactly what to do. I think he was able to work with this motorcycle. I think he's driven motorcycles before. I don't watch a lot of movies with Tom Hardy in it. I think this is the first one I've seen. I might be wrong. 98% of the time, I probably am wrong. I saw that. So, I applaud Tom Hardy for his role in a Marvel associated movie, which is very well. And, this pretty boy, is going to finish what we were talking about. So, go right ahead and talk more.
Alright, so, Venom. Number one. I enjoyed the movie really, really well. This is also a non-spoiler review, just to get that out.
Yeah, my YouTube channel, I do no spoiling, and I've dealt with spoilers on certain YouTube channels and certain videos, and then I get so mad because it's just like, well, no, I just can't watch the movie now because then I'm going to know what's going to happen, and it's not okay. Don't do that.
So, back to Venom. Tom Hardy, perfectly great cast for Venom. When this project was first announced, the Sony originally wanted to do a movie set within the MCU, which is, produced by Marvel and Disney. And the thing is, they didn't want to touch this. Venom is a character, we've had a movie adaptation for him, and he was in Spider-Man 3.
With Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, and he was Topher Grace from That 70s Show. He played.
Shout out to the 70s Show.
He played Eddie Brock in Venom in Spider-Man 3. It was not conceived very well due just to miscasting and
how quickly they rushed it too.
How quickly, yeah, that was rushed because you don't see Venom till basically the very end of the movie. But
Devin, what if people didn't see that as a spoiler?
Spider-Man 3's been out for like 10 years, okay? I'm sure people have seen it. Anyways, back to Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy, he's very familiar to doing comics. As you know, he did Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. And he did an okay job, and he was in Mad Max, which is a really good film. But going into this, we didn't know if Venom was going to be conceived very well, because if you're going through the trailers and all that, basically from what I saw, a lot of people already hate it. People were really mad about how can you do a Venom without Spider-Man, because in the comics the symbiote anyways gets onto Spider-Man, and that's how he develops his abilities. And then Spider-Man gets rid of the symbiote and it goes to Eddie eventually, and he has basically Spider-Man's powers. Now, they did a great job of creating its own story without Spider-Man, and I applaud them for doing that. This Venom, it's a little different from the comics. Again, a lot of people are looking for radar, and I mean, as she said, it gets pushed to the limit. And there are scenes that
you would expect to be rated R, but they pushed it to PG-13 to the very end. Like, literally with that much left room before they hit that mark.
And a lot of that decision to make it PG-13 was to make money. As we know, if you make a rated R, you can't get enough audience in. And they were afraid that if they did that, they would not make enough money to do what they want to do with their own Marvel universe. Basically, if you're looking for a relationship between Venom and Eddie Brock, you're going to get it. It was perfect casting. He played it very well. This film has a mixture of horror, action, sci-fi. Heck, there's a lot of comedy. Surprisingly, the trailers barely showed any of that, and that's
because that's the point, because they're trying to make it different. But another thing that I did like about the movie was it actually gave Venom more of a background of where he came from, of how a relationship between him and Tom Hardy, what they call him, the host, and how they became to be one person, and how they're going to start working. And to me, going off of that, it's nice that they took something that really didn't have a background to begin with and gave it a story. So they gave Venom, who was nothing but a symbiote, and gave him a story of where he came from and what's all there to be. And then Tom Hardy's character just happened to get him.
Yeah, again, Eddie Brock, he's a lot different than he was portrayed in Spider-Man 3 and the comics.
He's not a geek.
Basically, they were trying to base their idea off the Venom comics, where he did his own thing away from Spider-Man. And it works out really, really well. Only issue I had with the movie is pacing.
Okay, here we go.
The pacing of the movie. It's still a good movie. There are some obvious miscues. If you're going in to see this as a great, perfect film, it's not a perfect film.
No movie is perfect.
There's editing issues. There's just a story of pace. I just felt once the symbiote eventually got to Eddie, it was quick, let's get to the end of the movie. But it kind of feels like that, but in some scenes, they're good. And it's still enjoyable from beginning to end. I had a heck of a time watching the film. I enjoyed it very much. I think Sony did a really, really good job for their first film in their Marvel Cinematic Universe. And we are going to get a sequel, hopefully soon, for Venom because of how much money it made. Because as of today, it's made about $110 million.
Which is way more than they thought that they were going to make.
At the box office. And opening weekend, it was projected only 50 to 60 million. And it came out with $80 million. Great. Phenomenal. It crushed it. Hopefully, we get to see more Sony projects of Marvel. I know that they're talking about doing Morbius, the living vampire, and that's supposed to go in production soon with Jared Leto as Morbius. I know there's been talks of doing Black Cat and Silver Sable movie. They're known characters in the Spider-Man universe, and if you play Spider-Man games or if you know Spider-Man comics,
Like the one that was just
they're a
released
big
for
deal.
the PS4.
And then finally, they're talking about Kraven the Hunter, which I think that would be a good film to do. Kraven's a good villain and all that. So hopefully, they knock it out of the park. And eventually, I do want to see Venom in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know where they're going, as long as within the MCU. But I think there's some way, hopefully, that they can take Venom and bring him in, because I would like to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man against Venom, and I think they could do very well. If Disney doesn't want to do that, I'm sure Sony can do their own Spider-Man eventually.
I'm just imagining Tom Holland versus Tom Hardy. I'm just imagining that little boy going against a buff dude.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's going to be tough to mix both of those things. But yeah, I expect, Venom's going to, hopefully, my dream would be to be in the MCU. But we don't know if that's going to happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. But, Venom was a really good movie.
Would you recommend it for people if they are interested in seeing it? Or are you going to say it only...
Well, no, I recommend it for everyone. Don't listen to the critics out there. The critics, sure, it has a...
But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Like, we loved our movie. We love Marvel, as you can see in the background. Watch your head. We had that whole Avengers bullshit on our wall.
Anyway.
Did you just give me that hand? Did you just
No,
give me that
okay.
answer?
Let me finish. Anyways.
Well, hurry up. You've been talking for 10 minutes.
Okay, whatever. Anyways. What was I going to say? If you're looking for a fun film, gives you enjoyment in the theater, go see it. Don't listen to critics. Critics have their own opinions. They look into different things.
Go see it for your own judgment, or wait till it comes out on Redbox and then rent it, and then you get to decide from there if you want to buy it or go see it.
I enjoyed it.
We do plan to buy it when it comes out.
Well, of course we're gonna buy it. It's gonna go with the rest of them. Anyways, the only thing I would say is stay during the credits. There is a mid-credit scene. And that's all I'm going to say as far as to that. And yeah, the movie's great. Go see it. Have a fun time. And Venom.